episode 576 of 360 Wrestling Fanatic. Going to be talking all about tonight's episode of AEW Dynamite as we head into the biggest weekend of the whole year for professional wrestling. Right here, right now, 360 Wrestling Fanatic. Hello, wrestling fanatics. Welcome to 360 Wrestling Fanatic. It's Wednesday. You know what that means. Time to talk about this week's episode of AEW Dynamite. And we are only days away from WrestleMania 40, the biggest weekend of the whole year for professional wrestling. Not just WWE, but now all pro wrestling, of course. It's been that way for a while now, but huge, gigantic weekend, as I have been talking about all week to describe this weekend coming up. Definitely excited about it. I'm pumped. Looking forward to all the pro wrestling that will be taking place this weekend, starting tomorrow with some of the going-ons, and I'll probably talk more about some of the events taking place tomorrow morning on Good Morning Wrestling Fans. But for now, AEW Dynamite and Dynamite Tonight was live from Worcester, Massachusetts. Our commentators for tonight, Tony Schiavone, Excalibur, and the Human Suplex Machine, Taz. And we kick things off with the AEW TNT champion, the Rated R superstar, Adam Copeland. He's not out for a Cope Open challenge, though. Cuts a very passionate promo for his love for AEW and professional wrestling as a whole. Great promo from Adam, I thought. Great way, I thought, to kick off Dynamite as well. And then he brings out the aerial assassin, Will Ospreay, and we're kicking Dynamite off with the Battle of the Wills. Will Ospreay taking on Powerhouse Hobbs. Will Hobbs, even though they haven't really called him that in a while. Don Callis is on commentary for this match, as you would expect, since both are members of the Don Callis family. Awesome match here. Really good opener. Was impressed. Will Ospreay, of course, he's one of those guys, when you see he's having a match on a card, you know it's going to be a good match. Powerhouse Hobbs, definitely good worker, good performer, but he definitely impressed me tonight. These two had a really good match. They told a good story, too, of Powerhouse Hobbs getting aggressive, getting upset, and then it was Will Ospreay getting the win, defeating Powerhouse Hobbs in this match. And then after, there is some more tension. Powerhouse Hobbs upset of course, losing to his teammate Will Ospreay. And then also another thing, Don Callis on commentary continued to keep calling Will Ospreay the Golden Goose, and Excalibur on commentary even asked him, "Oh, you're favoring one member of the Don Callis family over the other." So they brought that up. Really good opener of Dynamite tonight. In case you missed it for some reason, definitely recommend check it out. That's definitely a match recommendation right there. Like I said, if you missed it for some reason, definitely check that match out. Also, when Will Ospreay is exiting, going up the ramp, we see the entrance of his opponent at the Dynasty pay-per-view, April 21st, and that is the American Dragon, Bryan Danielson. Danielson is in action next. He'll be taking on the Murder Hawk Monster, Lance Archer. First time meeting between Danielson and Archer. Good match, I thought. Bryan Danielson, just like I said about Will Ospreay, he's one of those guys that I would put in that category where he can work a good match with just about anybody. And like they say, that old saying, with a really good worker, you could put them in a match with a brute and they would make the broom look good. And like guys, like I've said that about AJ Styles in the past before. It's true though. Bryan Danielson, definitely. Also Samoa Joe, I would put in that category, who can just go out there and have a great wrestling match with just about anybody, no matter who it is. And next up we get the remarkable Renee Paquette with her guest at this time, the Lionheart, Chris Jericho. He calls out Hook. Hook comes out. They go back and forth a little bit. Hook says he got a match for them next week, on Collision. On Collision, and they will be taking on Shane Taylor and Lee Moriarty. That is this Saturday night, I believe, on Collision, which will be airing at 11:30 p.m. Eastern. Late start time due to March Madness, but who knows if WrestleMania Saturday will be done by then or not. So, and I know for sure they have announced a press conference for night 2 on the Sunday, but I'm not sure as of right now if they'll be doing a press conference both nights or not. But definitely on night 2 there'll be a press conference. But just in case I might just set my Sling DVR just in case WrestleMania is still on, record Collision, and then watch Collision after WrestleMania Saturday, and then hopefully 360 Wrestling Fanatic, hopefully not too late. And semi-finals match in the tournament for the AEW World Tag Team Championships. The Young Bucks, Matthew and Nicholas Jackson, taking on the Best Friends, Freshly Squeezed Orange Cassidy and Trent Beretta, with Chuck Taylor in their corner. And not only Chuck Taylor, but also the mother of Trent Beretta, Sue, making her return to Dynamite. And good match here. The Young Bucks getting the win. And at one time, was it Matt, I believe, or Matthew, I should say, kind of got in the face of Sue a little bit. She slapped him, and Orange Cassidy hit him with an orange punch on the floor. The Young Bucks end up getting the win to advance to the finals of the tournament at Dynasty, which is no surprise. Love Orange Cassidy. Love Trent Beretta. Well, just a minute I'll talk about post-match, but the Young Bucks get the win, and after the match, it's been teased for a little bit now that Trent Beretta kind of showing some frustration, kind of getting upset, but looked like we were going to see another hug, another best friend's hug after the match, but instead it is Trent Beretta turning on Orange Cassidy. Like I said, I wouldn't say it was a surprise, but because it's been kind of teased for a little bit now. But the way they did it is Chuck Taylor didn't know what was going on. Even Trent's own mother, Sue, didn't even know what was going on. And he just walked out on everybody, walked out on Chuck Taylor, his mother, Sue, and definitely interested in this angle already, even though pretty much just started. So it looks like a heel turn for Trent Beretta. And we have Thunder Rosa taking on Mariah May, and the AEW Women's World Champion Timeless Toni Storm is on commentary for this match. Pretty good match here. Good main event. Or at least the last match on the show. Not the final segment, but it was the final match of the show. And Thunder Rosa getting the win, defeating Mariah May. And now it is official. Thunder Rosa is the number one contender, and she will challenge for the AEW Women's World Championship when she faces Timeless Toni Storm at Dynasty, April 21st. And then next is the contract signing for the Dynasty main event for the AEW World Championship. Samoa Joe defending against Swerve Strickland. I thought this was done pretty well, actually. Joe signs first, and Joe ends up attacking Swerve Strickland with the chain and busting him open. He's a bloody mess, goes to leave, and Swerve signs the contract with his own blood. Now, we've seen before in pro wrestling contract signings where the guy who's busted open, the other one took his opponent's blood and signed with his opponent's blood. But I believe this is the first time that we've actually seen one of the wrestlers sign the contract with their own blood. Could be wrong, but I believe that's the first time we've seen that. So it is now official. The contract has been signed. Samoa Joe for Swerve Strickland for the AEW World Championship coming up on pay-per-view April 21st at Dynasty. And before I wrap up the podcast, that was AEW Dynamite for this Wednesday. I thought it was a pretty good, solid episode. Had some really good pro wrestling as usual. And I definitely recommend it in case you missed it tonight for some reason. Definitely check it out. on demand, or if you got it on your DVR, definitely worth a watch. And before I wrap up this episode of the podcast, there is an interview post-wrestling and WrestleNomics. John Pollock and Brandon Thurston. They do it. Janelle Grant's attorney, Ann Callis. You can either listen to the audio or watch the video on YouTube, but I recommend listening or watching that. And Seth Rollins says that he is now full strength after the injury in January. And you know what? I have to admit, I forgot to watch it, but I forgot all about it. Today was the debut episode of WWE Speed on X. And I'm not going to read spoilers. I'm sure I will eventually check it out. What I understand is that these are going to be short, fast-paced matches just on X, exclusively on X. Which is one of the new shows WWE has now, which they already have. I can't remember anything now, but it's a new NXT docu-series, and it's available on the Roku channel. So if you have a Roku TV, or any Roku device, the stick, the box, or whatever, can watch that right on the Roku channel. I haven't checked it out yet, but a lot of times when I turn on my Roku TV, they're advertising for it on the home screen. Now that is all for tonight's episode of 360 Wrestling Fanatic. Thank you everyone for tuning in. Hope everyone had a great day today as we get closer and closer to WrestleMania weekend, or you could even just call it Pro Wrestling Weekend in general. Got Game Changer Wrestling, DDT, Action Wrestling, which also on that episode of Pollock and Thurston that I was talking about, they talked to the promoter for Action Wrestling. Also, WrestleCon and the Mark Hitchcock Memorial Show as well, and Game Changer Wrestling, their show going on as well, or shows, and the Independent Wrestling Hall of Fame included in there. And that's all. I will be back tomorrow morning for Good Morning Wrestling fans, so hope you all will join me. But until then, I am Lance, and I am a wrestling fanatic.